$13,500 on their very first deal. This St. Louis couple is happy to share with you all here on my YouTube channel on how they did it with zero down. Stand by. Let's get it. Hello guys, this is Ty, aka the Flip Man, and today we have two students out of St. Louis, a couple that closed their first deal, and they've been very given and wanting to share their time with us on that actual first deal. And enough of me talking. I'm going to introduce them, and we'll dive into how they got to the point where they closed their first deal and how much they made. So guys, David, Angela, how are you guys doing?
Doing well.
Seems like a great morning, you know, a few days after your closing. And again, I appreciate you all offering your time to share with others. I think both of you all actually were inspired by interviews with other people on my channel. So I really appreciate you guys doing the same for others, and hopefully this will help someone else along their journey and get them to some closing tables. So so I want to start, guys. Generally, I'd like to start with just finding out how you guys actually got interested in real estate, and we'll just go from there if you want to share that.
Okay, well, it's a little different for both of us. I've been interested ever since way back in the 90s with the real estate gurus that were on, but I just didn't, there was never enough information for me to actually get started. I guess there was some fear there, never got started. He and I tried to do something maybe about 15 years ago, but it kind of fell through, and then we just kind of let it go, just not dealt with it up until now. And for me, I kind of, I work outside the home, so I'm just tired of being a slave to someone else, or someone else, working for someone else. And I want my own time. I want my time back. And that's what's motivated me today to, trying this again and getting out there and trying to do something different.
Okay. What about you, David?
Well, my interest goes all the way back to Carlton Sheets infomercials. And I've been looking into it and putting it off and putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. And I ran across your videos one day and started watching your videos. And it wasn't all that long ago, actually. It was probably no more than, I'm going to say, a couple months, maybe 3 months at the most ago, that I started watching your videos. And one thing that you said hit me like a ton of bricks, which was, you can listen to the videos, you can read, you can do whatever you want to do, all you want to do, but you need to take action. And until you take action, you ain't going to get nothing. And we didn't have anything until we took some action. And I literally, from hearing it out of your mouth to my ear, take action, take action, I finally started taking action. I literally, we went driving for dollars, and that's how we found the first house. We found the first house. We were driving for dollars most of the day. And then we were driving for dollars in a neighborhood that I have a friend that lives in. So we stopped by his house. We didn't tell him anything. Nobody knew anything that we were doing. We didn't tell anything to anybody other than our immediate family. But we just stopped by his house. And when we were leaving his house, we were pulling away, and literally 6 doors down from his, I noticed a house that looked vacant, and it was vacant. We pulled up, and there was no mailbox, and the grass was kind of overgrown. So I got out. There was a couple of pieces of paper on the door and the window, so I got out to see if I could see an address on one of those pieces of paper, so I knew what address it was. And the mailbox was literally laying in the grass up by the door. It was overgrown. And I can't remember what the address was, but I read the address upside down. I read it. It was 11069, and I read it 1190. I read it backwards, whatever it was. And we were getting ready to leave. I was getting ready to walk back down the driveway and get back in the car, and I said, "Wait a minute! I think I read that upside down." So I know, and I did. I read it upside down. But anyhow, we literally got on the St. Louis County website and looked up put the address in the website and got the name of the owner, and then we went to I think I Googled them and white paged them, and there's a website called Zaba, and we Zabbed them and ended up getting a phone number for them. And I called the number, I left a message, and the very next day they called back. And it was on from that very day when they called back. We met them at the house later that afternoon, because we hadn't been in the house. We didn't offer them anything. I told them I had to see it to, I'd be able to offer something to them after I saw the house. So we made an appointment with them, saw it later that day. I actually told him that I would give him a call in a couple of hours after I calculated everything. So we went back and talked about it and decided what we were going to offer him. And we decided what we were going to offer him based on the information you gave us on your various videos, which was go to Zillow, Realtor.com, Homes, Snap, Homes, and get a basic price of what the house is worth when it's fixed up. So we knew from then we were basically dealing with a $60,000 house when it's fixed up. And so we offered him 10.5, and he took my very first offer. He took it. He said, and so that, as far as that goes, that was easy, because I literally made him one offer. He said okay, and I told him we'd meet. This was late in the evening. This was probably maybe 6:30, 7 o'clock in the evening when I was talking to him. When I offered him the 10.5, he accepted it. So we met him the next day, gave him your one-page contract all filled out. We filled it out on the computer, so it was not hand filled out. It was typed, but you could have done it by hand just as easily. Oh, yeah. And then we went and we put a $10 deposit down, but I forgot to give them the $10. So we actually, technically speaking, we put nothing down, literally nothing. And actually, I was supposed to go meet him the day of the closing, because at the closing, we didn't even go to the closing. The way it ended up working for us was we gave them your one-page contract.
Wait a minute. Let's get to, you got the contract. Let's get to how you found your buyer. We don't want to skip to the closing. How did you find your buyer? And how fast?
Actually, I found buyers so easy it wasn't even funny. And all I did was call other bandit signs that we've seen, called a couple of numbers on the internet that I've seen, and literally we buy houses, and we answered numbers on those signs and ended up getting 4 or 5 or 6 people that came and looked at the house and gave us bids on it, what they would pay for it. And that all happened in 1 or 2 days, literally.
Wow.
It literally happened like lightning. It happened. The first person I called said, yeah, I'll look at it. Well, I'd have to go back even a little bit deeper into the story than that. One of the things that I've done is that I've gone and put out these little 3x5 cards. Little 3x5 cards. I've gone into all the local businesses around town. I've gone into, you can't go into any chain. They won't let you put these things in a chain where they have rules and everything else. You have to go to the people who own the little local tire change place, who own the local donut shop, who own the repair place, and ask them. And what I've done is I've gone into every one of those businesses. I literally hold this card and don't say anything. I just let them read it. I don't say a word. And then they read it, and then they look at me and they say, okay. And I say, if you let me put this in your facility, anywhere in your facility, you just tell me where I can put it. I'll put it anywhere you tell me. I'll give you $500 if I sell a house that comes from, I put this phone number and then I put an extension on there. So I know whatever business I'm in, I got a pad of paper, I write the business down and I put whatever extension number down. So for instance, I was in a repair place. He was extension 113. And when I was actually in that place of business, talking to the guy who owned it, another gentleman who was standing there who was getting his car fixed, who was just there getting his car fixed, he actually had a house. And he said, I actually have a house for sale right now. So that led to me going to the very next place, and I put this sign up, and he happened to buy houses. It was a cell phone repair place. The business was a cell phone repair place, and he had a business on the side of buying and selling houses. So within 2 stops of putting these up, I found a house and I found a buyer.
Wow.
Now, I didn't find the house that I sold, and I didn't find the buyer that I sold, but I found a house and a buyer on 2 stops with these little miniature bandit signs. So that led to, he was real easy to get. He was the first guy that I went and had give me an estimate on what he'd be willing to give us for the house. Ultimately, what we did was we put an offer of $10,500 down on a house, and they took it. So I was originally trying to sell the house. I wanted to try to make $20,000 on the house is what I originally wanted to do, because I figured 10.5 and what it was worth fixed up and everything else, there was probably some money to be made there. But of course, being an amateur that I am, I didn't really realize all the things that they needed to fix on that house. And when they got pointing out everything, I understood. So I went from 20,000 to 15,000 in my mind. This is all in my mind. I hadn't agreed to nothing with anybody yet. But most of these people kept coming back with nothing that was even going to come close to putting $20,000 in my pocket. But I had a couple that were in the $15,000, $18,000 range. So I'm not going to say no. Obviously, another thing that we got from your videos was, why would you say no to 13,000 or 18,000 and when you have nothing to begin with? So I went from a hopeful 20,000 to 15,000, and he actually agreed. I found somebody that would buy it for it, so we would make $15,000 off the deal. Then he came back. Well, let me back up 1 second. I told him what we were purchasing the house from the owner for $10,500. I told him that before I had in writing what he was going to give me.
Mm-hmm.
I had a verbal agreement. We verbally agreed to it, and I gave him my contract, so he knew how much I was going to make. He knew how much before he actually gave me their contract. So I learned a $1,500 lesson of not giving up any information before you have what you need, before you get what you need, so you're not going to get.
Yeah, I think we discussed that, didn't we? After it happened, I think, or whatever.
Yeah, but anyhow, so don't give a potential buyer your information on how much you got the house for before you get a price that they're agreeing to buy the house for, because I gave them the information and then he lowered the price on me. So, but I took it, obviously, $1,500. We ended up making $13,500 is what we made. So basically with no money down, not even a deposit down, because I forgot to give the deposit. We walked away with $13,500.
So you didn't even spend any money as far as marketing, because you found the property driving through dollars. The only thing you had invested is maybe $20 in gas and your time to find that initial deal.
Not even that much, because honestly, you remembered it a little different. That particular day, that particular property, we were only driving for dollars about 30 minutes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I mean, and everything happened so quickly that and he got really excited. Everything happened really, really fast. I mean, like within days. So by the time we called him, he called him initially. They ended up calling us back. Husband and wife. Husband was definitely motivated. He wanted to from the first phone call. He's like, yeah, we'll sell this house. But wife was like, no, I'm going to talk to my husband. I'll call you back. So she calls back the next day. Then she wanted to know how we got the phone number because they had an unlisted number. And then he had explained that. And then she got off the phone with us. And then by the time the third call came in, that's when they said, okay, we'll meet you tomorrow to sign the deal. So it was like a 3-day process. And then they actually signed the contract. And it was like, wow, that was fast.
What once you had the contract with your buyer, did you get any earnest money from the buyer?
No.
You didn't? Okay.
No.
All right. How did you go about choosing the closing attorney or title company?
We did what, well, first I'm going to tell you that a lot of this comes from another student of yours, is out in California somewhere.
Chris.
Chris. He made $21,500 on a deal, and basically I was watching the YouTube video of after his first sale, his first closing, when he was on here. What we're doing with you now, he was doing with you then, and what he said really motivated me. What he said got me going, which was you literally have to take action. You have to take action. Well, he took action, and his action led to $21,500 in his pocket. I'm like, I'm going to take the same kind of action. Well, that action led to $13,500 into my pocket. So I'm going to take action again and again and again and again.
All right. So did this buyer choose the title company that you closed?
The buyer ends up being somebody who sells. He tells us he buys 10 to 15 houses a month, and we just use who he closes with every time. And I'm going to tell you, we never went to the closing office other than to pick up the check. We didn't. Well, what happened was we met the Hugheses, which were the sellers, to sign the one-page contract from you. Then I gave that one-page contract to the buyer, and he emailed us his contract, and we signed his contract over the internet. So we signed it in the bedroom. We never even left the house. We signed the contract and sent it back to him. And then that was all. Then the next thing we did was we went to the title company and picked up a $13,500 check. Didn't sign another thing. Didn't go to the closing. Didn't talk to anybody. Didn't see anybody. All we did was get a $13,500 check.
Well, yeah, sounds like you had a really seasoned buyer, and he had probably dealt with a lot of wholesalers. Yes. So it doesn't even sound like you all had to explain to the title company how you all were going to get paid. It's understood that you had contract A at this price and contract B at this price, and you all got the difference.
Right, and on the check, obviously they got a check, and then they got a little sheet of paper attached to the check, and on that sheet of paper it said we were the assignees. So I mean, they knew exactly what they were doing. They knew exactly what we were doing. They knew exactly what everybody was doing.
So you actually sold the house to him, was it for $24,000 or whatever? Okay, for $24,000. Okay, all right. How long did it take from the point that you had the contract with him to close it?
Yeah, probably two and a half weeks, something like that.
Okay, all right.
There ended up being a couple issues with the title when the title didn't come back clean, but they were minor issues, and they got them all straightened out within a day or so. And
it was mostly, I guess, paperwork that hadn't gotten filed properly. But other than that, they straightened that out in less than 24 hours, and everything was on. Because we were getting worried, and it always it happened like the day before closing. we get a call saying, oh, the title didn't come back clean. We're like, oh no.
All right. Well, let me ask you. Once you went and picked up the check, obviously it became real at that point that, hey, I can actually make some money with this stuff. What did you all do? Did you go out to dinner, or you just went back to normal day, or what?
No, we had an argument later that day, and we went back to normal. $500 didn't even make her happy enough not to argue that day.
That's what's happening. Okay. So, what do you all? What's next for you guys as far as? I'm sure you're going to ramp up your marketing or whatever. What are your next plans? I know we discussed a couple of days ago what your day-to-day activities should be. So, what do you all intend to do? You know, I obviously want to put some of that money back into getting your phone to continue to ring.
Right. I have 50 bandit signs that I'm planning on putting out tonight. I'm gonna put them out when the basically sun goes down, and put them out all night and have 50 signs up tomorrow morning.
Okay, you're going to continue to do the small postcard, small bandit sign deal?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah. That's a great idea. Probably going to put something in motion like that myself. That's brilliant. I probably won't be the one going into the store, to the businesses or whatever, because the first person that told me no, I'll be ready to go home and get in the feeder position. But I can get someone to do it. I can give them an incentive to do it or whatever. So, but yeah, guys, hey, so in St. Louis, we know you can wholesale houses, huh?
You can wholesale houses.
Anywhere.
You can use your one-page contract doing it, and there were literally no issues. I mean, nothing big, nothing major. It just was step by step by step by step, and it all got done.
And I want to say something that most of the information that you provided for free without us becoming your student is on YouTube. And if there's someone else out there looking, he does provide all of this information. Just watch the videos, because had you not put that information out there, we wouldn't know anything about bandit signs or driving for dollars or what to do, what steps. So, you know, we do appreciate the fact that you did offer all that free information out there, and that it's possible. And I'm more like you. I had to see the process work. I wasn't really excited until I actually saw the check.
That's it. That's it. It all sounds good. It all sounds good, but until you get a cashed check in your account, you know, it changes everything. You know, I wasn't as fortunate as you all. I only made $2,500 on my first deal, but it might as well have been $250,000 because of all the things I had failed at before. So, you know, guys, I'm really happy for you. When I got the text from, I have both of y'all's name programmed in my phone under one name, but I have both numbers from each one of y'all. So I don't know who texted me, whether it's you, David, or it was you. Okay. So you know, that always makes my day when students and even non-students, some just YouTube subscribers, text me and say, hey, we did it, we closed it, or send me a picture of a check or whatever. But definitely students when they do it, because you've gotten your money back, you know what I'm saying, from what you paid me. So that's more important than anything, plus some, you know what I'm saying? So, and you guys are on a different level than most people, because you didn't spend any money to get
I think that happened by accident.
Wow, that's a good one, man. It's nothing like a motivated seller. So you all ran into one. That guy probably would have took less than that $10,500.
I did spend money. I had to buy. I went to Dollar Tree and bought $1 worth of postcards. They got me 200 of these cards. And I bought $1 magic marker that I wrote all these with. So I spent $2.
$2, man. That's what's happening. Wow. Well, David, Angela, man, I really appreciate you all giving up your time, because you didn't have to do it. Everybody won't do it, which I understand that. But you all were inspired by a similar video from, I think you, Angela, you said a couple. I think the couple out of North Carolina, I did that video several years ago. And with Chris, that was just a few months ago with the one that you liked, David. But anything else you all want to share before we close this out?
I could tell you a whole lot of things, but
well, hey, let it rip. Let it rip. If you got the time, let it rip, man. People love this stuff here, man. They get tired of looking at my ugly mug. You know, they want to hear from some other people that's doing this, man.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. I've been in sales my whole life.
I can tell. I can tell you just how that. Hey,
no
means if someone tells you no, that only means, oh, you didn't understand what I just told you. Right. Let me tell it to you a different way.
And no is one of my favorite answers. I love hearing no, because I know I'm that much closer to the yes I'm going to get. I'm going to get a yes. And if I'm hearing no from you, oh, I'm getting closer and closer and closer. So I don't mind no's. A lot of people mind no's. A lot of people get discouraged with no's, but
that's what I mean.
I'm a commission salesperson, and I don't make any money if I don't make sales. And I make 100 to 200 phone calls a day. That's what I've done for the last 15. That's what I've done for the last 15 years, is make 100 to 200 phone calls.
Oh, you're gonna kill it. You're gonna kill this business. Oh my God, 100. Oh, I can't make 10.
Well, I sold advertising, and I had to get business. So I literally, my bread and butter was the phone book, because the phone book had number after number after number, and I would sit and I would call literally 100 to 200 phone calls a day, every day, to get the 6 or 7 sales a week that I needed in order to be able to make what I needed to make to support the family. So this to me is really fun and exciting, because I don't know why I spent my whole life making 100 to 200 phone calls trying to get $100 to $200 commission check out of somebody, when I could have been making those phone calls getting thousands of dollars commission. But that's neither here nor there, because now I'm on this, and $13,500 for my first taste of this. I kind of like it. So I intend to keep going. And
yes, sir. Yes, sir. What
go ahead.
Well, one of the things that I could just put this out there, Dave, which you may already know it, but because you're willing to do that, you know, the online stuff is more difficult to do deals that way. But if you're willing to call on for sale by owners, and whether it's on Craigslist or Zillow or sites like that, you know, that increases, you know, that's just another avenue, because most people don't have the patience and mainly the persistency to call, because the majority of the people that you call and the price that you need to make a deal work, it's just going to be more than what's going to make sense. But because those checks, those $13,000+ checks are out there looming, someone that's a gator like yourself, you know, it's not going to be an issue. You know what I'm saying? That now, if you get 2 or 3 of those to hit a week, you know, you're talking about, you know, mama be smiling a lot. You know what I'm saying? Because she know she know what you can go out there and make happen, man. That's a special skill when someone can do that, man. And there's never any reason when someone is not afraid of the no's. There's no reason for someone to be broke, because you have something that a lot of people like myself, I just marvel, man. I just marvel. But what I do is I just try to put people in place that can do that. You know what I'm saying? Because I know that's a weakness of mine. I'm just not built that way. And I've tried. I'm just not built that way. I respect it, man. It's so inspirational when I see someone that can do that. You know, they're like gods to me. You know, someone that can just pick up a phone and call people and pound it out. That's the name of the game. That's sales at its finest. Cold calling.
Well, I know that I can do that, but I can't. I don't like to mess with the internet, the computer, all that stuff. I'd rather pick up a phone book. I'd rather have a hard number, a name and a number. I'm gonna get an answer with a name and a number. But you got to go through finding an address, mailing them a letter, waiting for them to call you. Man, that bothers me. I don't like waiting. I'd rather be making it happen than sitting waiting for it to happen.
Well, that's making it happen too. You're just tackling it differently.
Yeah, well, yeah, he wants it immediate. You know, he wants an immediate response. Hey, nothing prevents you. Of course, a lot of people have smartphones now, but the market, I guess the demographic that you're targeting, which are normally most people that own real estate are going to be a little more up in age, in their 50s, maybe 60s, even 70s. A lot of them still have landlines, so nothing prevents you from just picking up the phone and just in your market and just calling them. Hey, my name is David. I buy houses. Do you have any houses that you would be interested in selling? You know, and the numbers will just take over. I've never personally put anything like that in motion because most people, if they're not partnered with you, they're probably not going to have, even if they're capable of doing that many calls, they're not going to do it. So this is your business. Nothing prevents you from just simply doing it that way, man. You know what I'm saying? Because again, the demographic that you probably need to target, which are older people, they own real estate, especially paid for real estate that has a lot of equity. Oh, the sky's the limit, just doing it that way. If you want to just be that direct in your sales.
Yeah, well, that's the way we found the very first deal. Was they're elderly people. They were ready. They were willing. And they did it. I mean, all they needed was somebody to call them and ask them to do it.
That's it. That's it. The property just sitting there and they're paying taxes on it every year. You know, there's a lot of that out there, man. So again, guys, I really, really appreciate you all's time. I'm going to go ahead and let you get about your day. I got some sign guys waiting on me right now to got a guy holding the sign and got one of them driving around to put out sign. They want to get paid this Friday. So
let me say this.
I'm sorry, what'd you say, David?
I really, really appreciate you. I really, really appreciate what you've done. I really, really appreciate your time, your videos, your information. And I don't know if anybody else is taking advantage of what you're putting out there, but we're going to.
Yeah, and if you haven't by now, you should.
Thanks, guys. Thanks a lot. So again, I appreciate you guys, and we'll close this out. And everyone out there, hey, $13,500. You know that'll inspire most people to keep going because those checks are out there pretty much in any market. You know, no market is any better. Some obviously bigger cities, you're gonna have more opportunity than a small town.
That's
but
another one of the many.
The internet is a powerful tool. So again, guys, appreciate your time, and we'll close this out, and I'll see you all on the flip side.
All right, you have a
Thank you
great
much.
day.